Oh man, we don't have Adam on here. We got my niece Thea, and we got Perri Sr. coming out for the Perri family vacation edition of Not Another Three Putt. Hey Thea, how are you? You good? Welcome to the show. We cut a deal earlier. Every time Thea sees Uncle Tony, she owes him $100. So by the time we get through this episode, I'll be rich and we'll be able to pay for this overpriced house. But we got Perri Sr. here. We're on the Perri family annual vacation Northwest Florida. And like every good family in real estate and mortgage, we're always looking at properties for sale and trying to figure out a way to make money. Right, Dad?
Yep. They're a great location where we're at. The rental, they seem to rent out quite frequently, but the prices are a little stiff right now.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, this area in Florida has not taken a beating like Southern Florida and the western shoreline.
So we, the Perri family obviously has operated in real estate and mortgage for quite a while here, and we want to walk you guys through some metrics on a deal that we would normally look at, and that way you can see exactly what a family that is involved in real estate looks like normally. So we found this property here, 384 Red Cedar Way in Santa Rosa Beach for $2.795 million. It's in this community called Watercolor. It's the one that we frequently go to on vacation at. Awesome for families and tons of great amenities here. So a 3-bed, 4-bath house. This property here averages about $1,100 a night for rental. Now, when you're looking at short-term rentals and high turnover rate rentals in an area like this, right, we're going to apply maybe a vacancy factor of 30%. Would you say that's
25 to 30%? Yeah, because the house we're staying in right now, I thought was rented 42 weeks of the year, 40 weeks of the year. It's a little larger than the one we're looking at for $2.8 million.
So at a 30% vacancy rate at $1,100 a night, that works out to $280,500 in gross rental income, or $23,375 a month. What we like to do and to scrub out a deal, the first thing we do is the 1% rule. So does the monthly rent, is it greater than or equal to 1% of the purchase price? So we know the purchase price $2,795. We know monthly the monthly rent $23,375. Thea, so that's a no deal, right?
No deal. It's not $27,950.
So we have to then go, okay, what other metrics are there, right? And we need to look through gross rent multiplier, net operating income, cap rate, cash on cash return, cash flow. The reason we go through these is because we're not on Instagram pumping up using other people's money and all these other crazy BS balance sheet tricks, right? Real quick, though, grab your pen and paper. So we want to look at a couple numbers so you guys can follow along at home. So in a 25% down situation on this property at a 7.5% interest rate, we're looking at total debt service with taxes, insurance, principal, interest, and HOA dues about $17,048 a month. All right. Now, yeah, we talk about maybe stronger capitalization, right? So maybe we put 30% down, right? That debt service looks at about $16,000 a month. And then if we put 40% down, which seems to be where we start to see better adjustments on rate and fees and cost, right, for rental properties, that number ends up being $13,689.
40% is almost $1 million.
Correct. And we're going to go through that part at the very end. So moving forward through the rest of this, now we know what our debt service looks like. We can use gross rent multiplier. That number, we want the equalization number in there to be low, right? So if we took 2,795,000, so 2.795 million, divided that by 280,500, Thea, we get 9.96, right? You got to speak up. Come on.
Yes.
And we want that number
almost
to be
10%.
Yeah, and we want that's the multiplier. We want that number to be lower. So So right now that says that we're going to be paying a premium for this property. Now moving into net operating income, which is your rental income minus your operating expenses. This is how you kind of factor delevered money. So this does not factor in principal and interest. So we have taxes on this property annually, $18,549. Insurance, $3,900 a year. We'll say a management fee of 10% of gross rent. That's probably maybe a little low for this market,
area, right?
But that's $28,050. Maintenance, trust me, when you have a family coming to these properties with a bunch of little kids, 10% maintenance is probably a little low, but we'll call it another 28,050. We already talked about the vacancy rate at about 30% here, and HOA is going to run 6240. So we have total operating expenses at 84,789 on this property. Again, we take our gross rent annually at 280,500 minus 84,789. That's going to give us 195,711. All right, Thea, what's next?
That doesn't even cover 10 payments.
That is one way to look at it. So in our formula, the Perri family deal desk, if you will, we want to look at cap rate next, right? That's why we calculated the NOI. So now cap rate is going to be your net operating income, right? Divided by the purchase price of your property. This is how you figure it out, your capitalization or your delevered ratio of return. So 195,711 divided by 2.795 million, Dad.
7%.
Yep. Now 7% longer term rental, stable market, maybe not buying at the top of the market.
Or a commercial property with a triple net.
Yeah. 7% is not a horrible number, but again, we're operating here. I would call this a moderate to higher risk because we have a marketplace that is going to be entirely dependent on people's availability of cash flow, right? Are people going on vacation? We know that flights here are relatively expensive. The airport service is moderate. Food cost is expensive. So if we start to see a pullback in the economy, maybe these properties, the vacancy rate goes up or that $1,100 a night average rate goes down. So 7%, probably not a strong cap rate, in our opinion, for a short-term rental property.
Especially in the $3 million price range.
That is a big one, and we're going to talk about how we get to how actually horrible this or overpriced this property is. So let's talk about actual cash flow, right? So we at this point, we factor in our operating expenses, and then we want to look at maybe not cash flow, but our cash on cash return, right? That's because we are levering this property. We love mortgages. We want to keep the mortgage business in business, right? So we want to look at maybe some down payments, right? So that 25% down was $698,750. 30% down is $838,500, and 40% down is 1.1, just over 1 million. Yep. So if we want to calculate our cash on cash return, right, we need to take our annual cash flow and divide that out by our cash invested, right?
Yep.
So
that's how you do it.
Look at this, and
Those
we think
good.
Yeah, the first one, so 25% down, our annual cash flow, if we're going to put 25% down, carrying that mortgage and everything, negative $8,800. So that's a negative cash on cash return. If we go to 30% down here, we have a 2861 divided by 8%. Not even 0.5%. So you could yield much better at probably a discount checking account. And if we look at this maybe from a 40% down here, we're still at a 2.81% cash on cash return. You could probably find that better in a high yield savings account still.
Correct.
You agree?
Yeah, I mean, the only other thing you could do is try to find something with more bedrooms. Now, if we could find a 6-bedroom that's going to rent for $1,800 a night for $3 million, I think that would be an investment that would pay off. The three bedrooms, 4 baths, we're here now, we're in a 7-bedroom house with 15 people. And a lot of the houses around us seem to be of the larger size. I think this one was like, I don't know, 10 or 11,000 for the week. So when you look at the bigger houses, now they're probably what, 4.5, 5 million over here now. If you would have bought 2020 over here, the house that we're staying in sold for just here over 3 million. And this one would cash flow if we could buy it for 3 million. But the smaller house, yes, people do rent them, but the bigger houses are family vacation type homes. I see them, rents are stronger, the amenities are nicer. You know, you can put 2, 3, 4. We have 4 families here, and we're not even on top of each other.
Yeah, that's the biggest part of this we want to kind of emphasize is that thinly capitalized investment property or real estate investment property, whatever you want to call it, doing it from a thinly capitalized position can get a little dangerous, right? We talked about, or we haven't talked about it yet, but there are a couple different theories, right? So we just want cash flow, ideally. Now there is a depreciation play, but the depreciation play, you have to understand, works when you have high W-2 wages and you need maybe a tax shelter, but just going after a bad cash on cash return, right? Just for the sake of depreciation, all that's really doing is you don't got your lighter with you, but we could light up $100 that Thea owes me for giving me a look. That would be the equivalent of it. So although depreciation there, it's a paper loss, and there's some things you need to talk to your accountant about tax strategy and what can actually be pulled forward and what is what doesn't really happen there too.
Well, and the other thing is you're taking whatever $500,000 to $1 million out of your savings account to throw at something that in my mind right now, the market's still at the top over here. It did have a little dip in 2021 and 22 and 23, but it bounced back. I don't see us gaining 5% equity annually as far as the values of these houses. I mean, how much, you're talking what, $3 million for 2,500 square foot, you're $1,000 a foot, over $1,000 per square foot. And the association's fees are steep over here. I don't see them going down.
And I think the other part that we want to talk about in this, although we're talking about some big numbers here, your interest rate isn't the biggest factor in your payment and your cash flow, your cash on cash return on this. It is how many dollars you're putting into this to make the cash flow make sense. Any other parting thoughts? Thea, nothing?
You like staying here, Thea? What do you call this? The Florida beach house?
You ready to go? You ready to go on the boat?
We're going to go on the boat. We got 9 swimming pools, right? There are 9 swimming pools where she gets to swim at. And it's a great location. It's just that house that isn't going to work. I would say no to that house. We could continue to look for something bigger. But trying to find workers down here, there's no sense in buying something beat up because the labor market here is so tight, and everybody comes in with ridiculous prices to rehab a house down here.
And that's why our maintenance fees or maintenance costs might be a little low in this analysis. Perri Family Deal Desk is saying no to Red Cedar Way, which is okay. It's already under contract, but we'll be back next year. We'll find another property to pick apart. Dad, thanks for hopping on. Real quick question: how do people get in touch? So we lend in all 50 states here at Novus Home Mortgage. How do people get in touch with you if they got questions about buying a rental property?
They call my cell phone, 708-932-2793. And agents can call me. I mean, I'm doing one down here for another client, and they're doing it on a bank statement loan. So they don't even need tax returns to get a mortgage.
I believe your new motto is no tax returns, no problem.
Yep, tax returns.
You got no tax returns, no problem. Give Tony Perri Sr. a call. If you guys have any other questions, you guys know how to reach me at www.applywithjr.com. We're out. We're going to the boat.
Take care.
I'm done. Cut the show.